This is Dr. Rodriguez for North Country Community College's Child Development Associate Training. In this video, I'm going to be going over the Chapter 1 Safety Outline. This is the outline for the CDA's Essential textbook. In this first video, I'm going to be going over this outline pretty quickly. It's a very general overview of the outline of the chapter, and then in the videos that will come after this, we will dive more in depth into each of these topics. All right? So, Chapter 1 looks at safety needs. Great place to start. Throughout this course, we're going to be looking at all sorts of ethical guidelines for child care providers, for child educators. We're going to be talking about different organizations that provide guidance to child care providers, child educators. We're going to be talking about child development theories and all these guidelines, agencies, theories. They place children's safety as a #1 priority. As Maslow's theory, hierarchy of need, points out that in order for kids to become really for anybody to become the best that they can be, for them to self-actualize, they need to have basic needs, the basic physiological and safety needs met before they can start to think about these other higher order needs. We'll talk about Maslow a little bit more in future videos. So keeping children physically safe. Over the last decade or so, states are updating their licensing requirements for child care providers by making safety regulations more stringent. You're going to become more and more familiar with these government safety standards, as well as throughout this course, you're going to be exposed to a lot of different resources that are going to look at safety needs, provide safety tips for caring for children. Here are a couple of links that you can check out of different resources to have on hand, in addition to the safety, the government safety standards. So go ahead and click through those links and take a look at that information. All right. Looking at maintaining a safe physical setting, we want to be preventing accidents. We want to prevent injuries. We want to ensure that indoor and outdoor environments are a safe haven for kids. An important part of that is ensuring that there is a good adult to child ratio in terms of supervision. So in a child-based program, if all the kids are under the age of 2, then you can have 4 kids for every 1 teacher. Now, as the kids get older, then you can have more kids for every teacher. Infants have a lot more needs. They need a lot more attention. Therefore, you're going to have fewer of them. Now, in a center-based program, you need to be able to hear and see the kids at all times. Now, in a family child care setting, these ratios change a bit, as well as if the provider has children of their own under the age of 6, their children are counted in the child to teacher ratio. In a family child care setting, supervision can be by sound, so listening for the kids as they're playing, as well as checking in on them visually regularly to make sure that all is good. Another important part of safety is ensuring that you get a written statement naming who can pick up the kids. This includes family, even if it's a grandparent, making sure that the parent has written down that the grandparent can pick up the child. So you always want to have that written permission. We need to be protecting the children in our care from lead exposure, from carbon monoxide exposure, taking precautions to ensure that the environment does not have choking or suffocation or strangulation hazards. We want to be looking at food safety, not just in terms of choking on food, but also making sure that food allergies are known and that precautions, are taken. As well as food is stored properly, so little kids, aren't getting sick by eating food that hasn't been stored properly. Sleep safety, another concern. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, is definitely a concern, especially for kids under the age of 1. The textbook provides lots of great tips for food safety, sleep safety, field trip safety. You're going to want to read through chapter 1 carefully, and in the videos to come, we're going to be looking at some of the different tips. So, safe field trips. How do you keep track of the kiddos? What information should you bring with you? It's important to have permission slips, having additional people there to supervise. So what can child care providers do to be proactive in ensuring program safety? Inspecting indoor and outdoor environment is huge, right? Getting down at the child's level to look for choking hazards, looking for trip hazards, making sure electrical sockets are covered, making sure that toys and materials are non-toxic, non-flammable. Is the space safe for the kids, conducive to them being able to explore without injury, without harm? What kind of stuff do you need in a first aid kit? About what plants should you avoid in the setting? What type of plants are poisonous if a child puts it in their mouth? And what type of animals are prohibited? So pages 34 through 36 of the textbook provide lots of guidance, as well as we're going to hit on some of these topics more in the videos to come. Does a child care provider need to play in teaching kids about safety? So, child care provider needs to create rules, articulate these rules in an age-appropriate way to the kids, right? And enforce these rules in an age-appropriate way. So maybe for a toddler, you are going to be doing a lot of reminding them of the rules, walking, of being kind, of sharp objects are only used with adult supervision. Scissors are only used with adult supervision. So stating these rules in a positive way rather than don't run, saying we walk inside, and explaining the why as appropriate, posting the rules in an age-appropriate way. So maybe with kids that can't read, using pictures, maybe posting the rules in children's own language if it's a multilingual center. Maybe using puppets and stories to explain rules. So making the rules clear, simple, for them to understand, as well as lots of reminders. And then as they get older, preschoolers, they can start to understand not just the rules, but how their actions, maybe not following the rules, can lead to consequences. So we need to be creating the rules, teaching the kids about the rules, reminding them of the rules in age-appropriate ways, as well as enforcing them, and then empowering them to be thinking about safety rather than always just relying on the adult rules. So some areas that there's a need, for safety rules and conversations surrounding safety is pedestrian safety. So crossing the road, using the sidewalk, looking both ways, riding toys, ensuring that the toys are in good repair, helmets are used. Car and bus safety, right? Using the correct car seats. If they're very little, the forward-facing backward-facing car seat, later on forward-facing, then booster seat, ensuring that there's no more than an inch of give in the straps, right? If there's use of a bus, talking to the kids about waiting for the bus driver to signal to cross, fire safety rules, that kids under the age of 5 are twice as likely to die from fire than older kids. Kids are naturally curious, right? So we need to be teaching about matches and lighters are only for adult use, ensuring smoke alarms and fire extinguishers are in working order, creating fire emergency plans, and practicing these fire safety plans and emergency plans. Water safety. So preventing slips on wet floors, preventing drownings. Little kids can drown in as little as 1 inch of water. They can drown if they fall into the toilet head first in as little as 2 minutes. So thinking about ensuring that the bathrooms are safe, maybe the toilet lids have a lock on them. Poison safety. So ensuring that poison substances, cleaning supplies, medications are not in the center or they are locked up. Posting poison control numbers. In addition to having rules and reminding kids of them and enforcing them, providers need to be modeling safe practices. So background checks on you and others in the center, CPR first aid training, following supervision ratios, having safety conversations with kids, enforcing rules, practicing emergency routines, staying abreast of safety practices and regulations, knowing the signs of abuse, and teaching kids the kids in your care to share their feelings, right? Page 47 of the textbook provides examples for teaching kids safety and for problem solving surrounding safety. So how to respond to injuries and emergencies. So page 49 through 50 of the textbook provide tips for administering first aid treatment, including for responding to burns and choking. When do you call 911? When do you go to the hospital? If an injury does occur, you need to fill out an incident report on the day that it occurred. I will be including in the lesson video on emergency plans, as well as creating a fire safety plan, including, testing smoke alarms, changing batteries, having an evacuation plan, practicing that. And in addition to having the rules and modeling safe behavior, you can engage family in safe practices. So continue to share ways that you're keeping kids safe, right? Maybe getting permission to photograph kids, discussing how disabilities might impact safety procedures, asking parents about the best way to comfort their kids in emergencies or an injury. Also encouraging kids and families to be safe at home, maybe including information about safety in workshops or in newsletters.